Hi everybody, welcome to Talking Tiny with Tara. I will learn that chime. We're going to answer a bunch of questions today. We have a lot of people asking a whole bunch of questions about this project. So we wanted to create a platform where people could listen to the Q&A process. We have two lovely ladies here that are going to ask a bunch of questions, and I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability. If we do think of anything down the road, there will be more videos. You can also comment and add questions of your own that maybe we don't hit today. All right, ladies, kick it.
Hi, I was wondering how many acres do you plan on having?
At a very minimum, we would like about 25, and really maximum would be 60.
Okay.
What inspired you to create a tiny home community?
A lot of trials and tribulations in my life, and losing a lot of my savings in my home with a major medical issue that happened a few years ago. I also started looking into what we're referring to these days as the housing crisis, and also my own family, right? So you all are very young, you're all working full-time jobs, and you don't really have a lot of extra to go on vacations and do the things that you really enjoy doing because the economy is struggling. So I wanted to create a community where people could live financially and still be able to have a life, also to be able to have one parent home if they do have a family.
And how do you feel that this will contribute to the community?
Oh, in a lot of different ways. So this will help with families, it'll help with senior citizens, and it'll help with children, and it will help support all age demographics across the board. It also is a good tax base for the municipalities in which we land.
Thank you.
What problem are you trying to solve with the project?
That ties into a lot of the question I just gave. Trying to create stability, longevity for the family, and the abilities for moms or dads to raise their families and not be stressed out and have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet.
And how could you explain the utilities for the community, and is solar offered with that?
So we're not going to have solar fields, but if people have tiny homes that have solar panels on them, that will be okay. We're really trying to create a platform where people can have a very inclusive package. So when they pay their lot rent every month, it includes everything. So you don't have 5, 6, 7 bills that you have to worry about. It'll include your internet, it'll include your garbage, it'll include your lawn maintenance. It will include water and septic and all the things required to live your life with no stress.
That's great. Most apartments don't do that these days.
That's what I'm saying.
What would make this different than a typical campground?
So a campground typically is not year-round. They're usually RVs. So most RVs are not meant to be in upstate New York, so there's not really good sufficient insulation and things of that nature. Tiny homes are built at a very high standard, and they are also meant to meet the needs of highly, not highly, but a wide range of temperatures, meaning very cold and very hot for air conditioning purposes.
And is there a pet policy? Do you allow pets in the community?
We're a big fan of pets. We have our own pets. We want to support families with that. There is going to be a registration process where you have to let us know what your pets are, how many you have, and there obviously will be some restrictions, but we'll get there when it's time. But it's going to be very liberal.
Okay.
Who is this community really for?
Families, and eventually down the road, when I'm too old to do anything, I want it to support our extended family.
Will you allow smoking or drug activity of any kind? That seems to be a concern, especially when there's children around.
There will be designated spots. I mean, obviously what is legal will be allowed, what is not legal will not be allowed. If people do want to smoke, be it in New York State, it is legal to smoke marijuana and cigarettes, obviously. There will be designated areas where that will be allowed, and obviously you can do that in your own home.
Could you tell us a little bit about what day-to-day life looks like?
It's amazing. You wake up in the morning, you have your cup of coffee, you're not in a rush, you're not in a hurry. You get to kind of contemplate what you want to achieve for the day, and you go achieve it. Ideally, if you have two parents, one works full time, the other doesn't work at all, or works from home in a part-time capacity to take care of the family. There might be a lot of couples without children, there might be older people, there might be just couples starting out, a lot of variations. The idea is that living in this community creates stable financial stability for everybody in whatever lifestyle you live.
Are you planning on having activities?
Yes, we actually have a designated activities director already picked out, ready to rock and roll. She's very, very good at it. We're going to do things like cornhole tournaments, food trucks, sip and paints. I would love to do like a pie eating contest. We have to look into that. But yes, there's going to be monthly activities, and there's also going to be a huge garden, chicken farm on the property. So we would like to have our own built-in farmers market for the community as well. But bonfires, music, lots of music. Yeah, good question.
How does the land lease model work?
Okay, so this is a really good question, because this is where I get a lot of my questions online. So right now, do we have the property? The answer is no, because I'm being very picky. I've looked at well over 50 properties at this point, and they have just not fit the mold. Because I'm looking for property that has a water feature. I'm looking for land that's been treated with respect and hasn't been doused with chemicals. I want to make sure that it's relatively flat. I want to make sure that there's not a ton of trees on it, because we need room for tiny homes. So there's a lot of factors into this. And then on top of that, you have to also consider the town that you want to build in. They have to be on board and be cooperative. Right now, we are very, very what's the word I'm looking for? Hyperly looking in Fort Anne. We are working with the officials there. They're very supportive, very kind, very helpful, very informative, and they want to participate in the project. It's just not a lot of property for sale. So we're keeping an eye on it. So to answer your question, your short question in a long way, we would like to sell land leases ahead of time, because by raising that money, that makes it more powerful to buy a more aggressive piece of property. Right now, without selling any leases, we would have to go on the small side. If we were to sell land leases ahead of time, we'll be able to buy a bigger piece of property that meets the needs of what my vision truly looks like. Everything is legal, everything is completely legit. We have our LLC, we are in the process of securing our trademark. We have a business account with a local bank. Everything is reviewed by an attorney. We have real estate agents, we have an accountant, we have a full team of about 15 people that are helping to participate in this project. So everything is very much on the up and up. So trying to sell land leases is really how we're going to power this project and make it really happen.
I read somewhere something about a hardship fund. Can you explain that a little bit?
Absolutely. So a portion of the profits will be put aside. So to kind of give you a little bit of backstory, why I got into this project is that I suffered a pretty major medical issue in my life, and after about a 2.5 year period of time, I lost my savings, I lost my job, and I also, we wound up losing our home. If somebody comes to us at Tiny Taratory and says that they have a sudden hardship, they've lost their job, they found out that they have an unexpected health concern of something, and they're not able to fully pay or not able to pay at all, there will be an application process, and the community will help fund that person so that they don't lose their home because of that unexpected hardship. And that will be built right into the profits, as I said.
That sounds great.
Will there be privacy for residents?
So this is also another very common question, because There was a lady online the other day, it really made me laugh. She said, I don't want to be able to take a roll of toilet paper and throw it out my window and have it go into somebody else's window. And I thought, man, that's a great reference point. So the idea is to not have more than 4 tiny homes on an acre. So that will allow there to be space between the tiny homes. We can put up trees, and people will be able to also have sheds. I do not know the sizes at this point. The town has not told us what would be okay with them, but it does give people an extra opportunity for storage, and you can position those sheds in such a way that gives you a little bit more privacy.
And for those of us that are interested, how do we find info about the project and updates?
So we already do have a website, www.tinytaratory.com, and the gal that does the activities also is doing a lot of the work on the website. And she is putting up videos, like this one will be put up by her, and all updates across the board. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and what was the other one? There's TikTok. Yes, I'm still getting used to all the different sites. So she's going to make sure that all of those platforms get this information so people can find out more about us and apply.
What is included in your monthly cost?
Everything. It is an all-inclusive, amazing price. So if you are an early applicant and you put money down to secure your spot, you will receive a discounted rent for 6 years at 50% to not only pay you back for that initial investment, but that doubles your money in return. It includes your water, it includes your septic, it includes a baseline internet. If you want a more beefed up version of internet, you're welcome to do that, but there will be a base model that will be included into your rent. It also includes trash and a composting pile. People don't realize about 30% of the stuff we put in our trash is food. That can be put in a compost pile, and that can be regenerated and help our gardens. So that'll also be included. And then, of course, the activities, right? So when we have live music and we are doing activities, you will be able to either choose to participate or not. Nothing is forced.
And what made you want to do an all-inclusive pricing model?
It ties into the simplicity, right? If I know that I have to pay X amount every month and it just covers everything, it ties into that low-stress model that I'm looking to strive for.
Would residents be able to choose their lot on the property?
Yes. So how it works, it's a first come, first served basis. Okay, so you're going to say, well, how do you do that when you don't even have the land yet? It's a really good question. Whoever pays first is the first one in line. So let's say we buy the land in 3 months, okay? Whoever has actually given us a deposit, looked at the contract and signed it and given us a deposit, that's a first come, first served basis, regardless of whether the land has been purchased or not. Whoever's first is first. And then when the land is purchased, we obviously have architects and engineers and all the things where a site map will be created. Regardless of whether there's 3 people who have signed up or 30, because we're going to max out at 90, no matter what, just because of the, back to the portion of where we want people to have privacy and be able to spread things out. If you paid first, you get first dibs on where you go on the property. There is also a payment plan where if you can't come up with the full deposit, you can make a payment plan, and that's absolutely fine, but you cannot pick your lot until you're paid in full.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the amenities that will be available on the property?
So we want to have a piece of property that has water. So we also want something that's very, very big for me is a walking path so people can walk their dogs, or just go for a walk, run. Apparently there are people out in the universe that run and there's no skunk running after them, but they run. So we want them to have the ability to run in a well-lit, flat, safe environment. So physical activity, gardening, we want to have chickens. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for people to do work programs where if they want to participate in any parts of those programs, they can also get a discount on their rent.
Are there specific roles that the gardens, animals, and nature will play?
How so?
Are there going to be specific jobs for people to get involved?
absolutely. So if you love goats, because Tater Tot is going to need tending to, that's our what is it? Our mascot. Our mascot Tater Tot. He and his friends are going to need tending to. The chickens are going to need tending to. The gardens are going to be a big deal. They're going to require a lot of watering and tilling and weeding and just making sure that they're healthy and have everything that they need. So that's going to require, 14, 15 people to take care of it. And so again, that ties into being able to, work off a portion of your rent.
All right. And to you, what do you think the future of this community is going to look like?
Honestly, it's probably the most powerful question asked so far, because I feel like this is such an amazing model for people your age, people my age. There is a tiny home movement that's happening across the country because of the housing crisis, but it also is about simplicity. And I think that we really need to get back to nature. I'm a very, very firm component that things started falling apart in our communities when they stopped building porches on the fronts of houses. Neighbors don't talk to each other. They don't have community events. People are not functioning that they did 40, 50 years ago. And I think we really are seeing a lot of results from that. We're seeing very high depression rates. We're seeing families, moms and dads, that aren't in the home because they have to work to make ends meet. So children are not raised with the support that they need to have a successful upbringing. I could go on and on and on and on about that. But I think getting back to ground roots is not something just for my benefit, for my immediate family's benefit, but I think it's a cultural phenomenon that needs to help people get back to basics and learn how to cook and how to laugh and dance and play and enjoy each other's company and just get back to the family unit, because that's really where everything derives from.
For our listeners out there, could you tell them how they could go about reserving a spot?
Absolutely. So they can reach out through Tiny Taratory. They can also reach out through Facebook. They can also directly reach out to me. I'm on Facebook as Tara Bryson Colvin. We also now, just started a Tiny Taratory Facebook site, along with the website and all the other places you're going to put this information. So you can reach out through all of that, and we will have a contract. We will explain it, and we will go over it, and we'll be very open to selling those contracts, because that's really what's going to fuel this project.
Finally, what would you say to someone that is considering this lifestyle?
Yeah. This is a no-brainer. Absolutely. I'm a huge component of it. I think it's a great, I have nothing negative to say about it. I'm investing all of my time, all of my energy, all of my own personal finances to ensure that this project happens, and I believe it at a very fundamental level. I would love for all of my children to live there. I would love everybody else's children to live there. I would love to just get back to the basics, and I believe at it at a core level.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to explain all this to us.
Absolutely. So if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to reach out. We have had many phone calls with many people asking lots of questions. I have spent hours and hours and hours, and I will spend hours and hours and hours and more of my time to help anybody understand the process. I do want to let everybody know, in the state of New York, and I don't remember the exact number, but there are approximately 12 to 16 tiny home communities in New York State. None are within a 100-mile radius of Washington County, New York. A lot of people are doing Airbnbs. Some people are doing homeless projects. Kudos to those people. So there's a lot of different models, but this is a homestead project, and there's not a lot around. So if we can make this happen in this area, not only do I think it will be for local good economy, but I think it'll be really great for growing in the future. If we can franchise this and have communities start to grow like this all over the place, that would be amazing. And all of our children can flourish in that wonderful idea. Did anybody have any other questions?
I think you've answered everything for us today, Tara. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for, what is it called again?
Talkin'
Tiny
Tiny.
with Tara. Talking Tiny with Tara. See you next time.